Every single day I passed for 3, 4, sometimes 6 blocks, city blocks lined with people holding signs saying, "Burn the witch."
You know, this very much is Lily's story, and Lily's a person who leads with empathy, and in that she wants to understand why everybody is the way that they are.
Hey y'all, it's Madison here, and buckle up fam, because we've got a Hollywood meltdown so epic, I'm honestly surprised reality TV producers haven't tried to option it. We're talking about Blake Lively, you know, the effortlessly chic style icon, the original Gossip Girl, and half of what might be the funniest power couple in the entire galaxy, embroiled in a scandal that's got the industry shaking in its Louboutins. And if you thought this was just another petty Hollywood spat, oh honey, guess again. This story has more twists than a roller coaster and more tea than a fancy afternoon brunch in Beverly Hills. On the other side of this drama, we have Justin Baldoni, the face that launched 1,000 OMG he's so sweet tweets thanks to Jane the Virgin. He's out here trying to salvage his reputation like it's the final rose ceremony on The Bachelor. Put him together in a heated conflict, throw in some alleged manipulative tactics, a few text message leaks, and a lawyer who practically fled the scene. And we have ourselves the kind of chaos that even the tabloids couldn't predict. Sound messy? Oh, babes, we're just getting started. So what exactly went down? What's up with this film adaptation of It Ends With Us that started off as the perfect combo, Blake's star power and Justin's behind-the-camera expertise, only to devolve into a PR war that's giving major Amber Heard vibes? And how in the world do you go from beloved Hollywood darling to that celebrity who might be orchestrating an entire fiasco behind the scenes? Today, we're digging all the way in. We'll talk about the allegations, the shady text messages, the abrupt lawyer exit, and the meltdown that has fans, studios, and basically the entire internet going, wait, what exactly is happening here? So if you want the full play-by-play, you're in the right place. Before we dive into this hot mess, do me a huge favor. Smash that like button, subscribe, and ring that notification bell. Trust me, you don't want to miss a single update on this ongoing drama fest. Hollywood is spinning out of control, and I'm here to be your personal tea sommelier. Ready, babes? Let's go. First things first, let's set the stage. We've got Blake Lively, queen of witty banter, star of countless rom-coms, and a fixture on red carpets everywhere, signing on to star in the film adaptation of It Ends With Us, a Colleen Hoover novel that basically has an entire fandom in a chokehold. If you've read it, you know it's emotional, raw, and has the potential to make you cry your eyelashes off. Perfect for an actress looking to add serious, dramatic chops to her resume, right? Then there's Justin Baldoni, who charmed the world as Rafael Solano in Jane the Virgin. That role alone turned him into a household name for fans of comedic drama. Beyond acting, Justin's known for dabbling in directing, producing, and pretty much setting the nice guy standard in Hollywood. So when you combine Blake's star wattage with Justin's big heart and directorial vision, it sounded like a cinematic dream come true. Fans were living for it. The internet was buzzing with excitement. Everybody was ready to ugly cry over the heartbreak and romance that It Ends With Us promised on the big screen. In the early days, everything was peachy. The press releases were all about how thrilled they were to adapt this beloved novel.
And we went into the audition, and he signed in, and then the casting director came out and said, "Blake?" And Eric said, "Yep, that's her." And I just thought I was gonna die. And she said, "We don't have you on our call sheet." And he said, "Oh," and he put his agency's name. And so I auditioned, and I didn't know what to say in that moment. I was 16, and my brother had just written my name on a piece of paper, and they were looking at me. So I walked in the room and did the audition.
There were sweet behind-the-scenes snapshots. Blake and Justin smiling on set, joking about script pages. The usual social media fluff that convinces you everything is sunshine and rainbows. Even industry insiders were convinced it would be a success. I mean, it's a tear-jerking love story that fans adore, paired with 2 big names. What could possibly go wrong? But as we all know, Hollywood thrives on drama. And soon enough, rumors started trickling in like slow leaks in a roof. Small, but impossible to ignore once you notice them. Whispers of creative differences and too many cooks in the kitchen began popping up online. Some folks claimed that Blake wanted to shape the film's direction in a certain way, while Justin had his own distinct vision, and neither was willing to budge. Now, tensions on set are not uncommon. We've heard it all before. But in this case, the friction refused to stay behind closed doors. It went from low-key speculation to front-page drama faster than you can say Hollywood meltdown. And that's when the real scandal started creeping in. At first, the tension was subtle. You'd see gossip sites quoting sources close to production hinting that Blake and Justin were at odds. They'd use phrases like creative clashes and power struggle, but nobody had any concrete details. It was basically a game of telephone. One person claims to have overheard a heated conversation on set, then another article spins it into a full-blown fiasco. This is Hollywood after all. Where there's smoke, there's usually a raging wildfire of drama. Still, nobody expected what happened next. Because when Blake Lively decides to escalate something legally, it's a big deal. She's been in this industry for ages and rarely so much as steps a toe out of line. And that, my loves, is exactly where we were headed. One day out of nowhere, the internet practically imploded. Blake Lively had filed official legal complaints about the production of It Ends With Us. Cue the collective gasp heard around the globe, like, hold up, Blake Lively, the woman who's never had a major scandal in her entire career, filing official legal stuff against a movie she's starring in? That's next level drama. Fans on Twitter and Instagram immediately freaked out as support Blake started trending like wildfire. People jumped to the conclusion that if Blake's taking this route, it must be serious. The speculation machine went into overdrive. Some fans said Justin Baldoni was overstepping his directorial boundaries. Others whispered that production wasn't respecting Blake's postpartum boundaries. Remember, she's a mom of 4, so the personal obligations are real. The narrative was all about the strong female lead standing up against a male-dominated Hollywood. Everyone was basically anointing her as the new champion for women's rights on set. The public was outraged on Blake's behalf. The press gobbled it up, running stories on how Hollywood still isn't equitable for mothers, how male directors often overshadow female stars, and how Blake's courage in speaking out was admirable. But hold your applause for just a second, babes, because the story didn't end there. While support Blake was lighting up everyone's feed, some fans and industry insiders started to question whether we had the whole picture. Because if Blake was so mistreated, why weren't we hearing from any crew members or co-stars backing her claims? You'd think at least one camera operator or makeup artist would step forward, right? Then came the receipts. Leaked text messages that changed the entire game. And oh honey, these messages were messy with a capital M. Allegedly, they pointed to Blake orchestrating a behind-the-scenes narrative to make it look like she was the victim.
It's a bit of a tough adjustment in our house, but it's good. I mean, I have 2 other daughters, so my oldest is very into the baby, but my middle child, not so much. But we're thinking of keeping her.
Yeah. Does she like play with her? What does she think?
Well, she sort of like pretends to play with her. So like in the beginning, our oldest is like loving on her, and she's like very maternal, and then our middle daughter is just keeps away from her.
We're talking conversations about controlling the media spin, using powerful friends to sway post-production decisions, and more. The biggest bombshell, she apparently referred to her A-list connections, including her husband, Ryan Reynolds, as her dragons. Yes, dragons, as in, I can unleash them at any moment to get what I want. I mean, move over, Daenerys Targaryen. There's a new mother of dragons in town, and she's wearing couture. The question was, did we just catch a glimpse of a very different Blake Lively than the one we're used to? With these leaked texts, the internet did that thing it loves to do. It drew parallels to Amber Heard's situation, the script. Celebrity claims wrongdoing, the public rallies behind them. Then evidence pops up contradicting their story. The mention of this is giving Amber Heard vibes skyrocketed. People started side by side analyzing the ways in which these text leaks mirrored how Amber's narrative fell apart once contradictory evidence emerged. And just like that, the tide began to shift. Media outlets that were previously championing Blake's cause grew eerily silent. Headlines went from Brave Blake Fights Back to, wait, are we missing key details here? Because when leaked text messages don't match your public statements, folks are bound to get skeptical. One of Blake's accusations was that Justin barged into her trailer uninvited, causing a major breach of her boundaries. Yikes, that's not a good look for him, right? Well, hold on, because when the full text thread about that specific incident surfaced, it revealed that Blake had actually invited Justin in, even joked with him about it. The vibe was lighthearted, no trace of discomfort or intrusion. So why would she describe it differently in her legal complaints? That's when fans got whiplash. All of a sudden, the narrative began to crumble. If she's twisting a story about something as minor as a trailer visit, what else might be exaggerated? People who were once firmly Team Blake started asking some tough questions like, is she playing Hollywood 4D chess right now? And could Justin actually be the victim in all this? As if the leaked texts weren't enough to stir the pot, Blake's own lawyer decided to jump ship in a very public, very dramatic way. This lawyer, known as a heavy hitter among Hollywood's elite, parted ways and issued a statement that basically hinted there were inconsistencies in Blake's account of events. Translation: even her own legal representation didn't feel comfortable defending the story. In Tinseltown, that's the equivalent of your best friend sneaking out of a restaurant when the check arrives, leaving you to pay the bill. It's a massive red flag, and it sent the internet into a frenzy of speculation. Because if your lawyer won't stand by you, who will? Major publications quickly pivoted their coverage, sounding less like cheerleaders and more like investigators ready to unearth the truth. When word got out that a top-tier attorney bailed on Blake, Hollywood bigwigs started to see her as a potential liability. Major studios typically avoid controversies like the plague, and if there's even a whiff that your star might be spinning a false narrative, expect your phone calls to go unanswered. Suddenly, rumors circulated that Blake's upcoming projects were on hold. Producers and casting directors apparently didn't want to risk bad PR. I mean, it's not rocket science. Messing with a multi-million-dollar film's reputation is a surefire way to sabotage the final product. The last thing executives want is a star with major credibility issues dominating the headlines for all the wrong reasons. At the same time, the rumor mill was swirling about Blake's husband, Ryan Reynolds, the internet's beloved snarky sweetheart. Why wasn't he defending her publicly? Some sources said he was torn, having seen the full scope of the evidence. Others claimed he was trying to keep the drama from exploding further. Either way, his silence spoke volumes. You know how the internet works. One minute you're a hero, the next minute you're the villain. Blake started out with overwhelming support, but as more contradictory details surfaced, the hashtag wars began. Suddenly, Team Justin was trending. People praised him for keeping cool and letting the receipts do the talking.
Well, I love romance. I'm a hopeless romantic. Romance is like everywhere in my life, but I had never read a romance novel, and I didn't understand why. And I'm sure a part of that has to do with my unconscious subscription to the man box and I shouldn't, that's not manly. But I read this novel and I couldn't even finish it.
He wasn't out there issuing fiery statements. He was simply releasing screenshots that contradicted her claims point by point. Platforms like TikTok and Reddit went into full detective mode. Fans compiled timelines, pored over leaked text chains, and matched them against Blake's public statements. The deeper they dug, the more questions arose about her authenticity. As soon as you get that Amber Heard 2 label pinned on you, it's an uphill battle to turn the tide back in your favor. Major entertainment blogs and news outlets that initially championed Blake's cause began quietly editing or retracting their earlier statements. Exclusive interviews that painted Justin as an overbearing director were replaced by more neutral coverage. The buzzwords changed from female empowerment to alleged manipulation. For some watchers, it felt like whiplash. Wait, weren't you guys just praising her yesterday? Now you're basically calling her out? But that's showbiz, baby. Reputation in Hollywood is as fragile as a soap bubble. And once it pops, the media is quick to pivot. If you're having deja vu, it's because we've seen versions of this meltdown before. First, there was Amber Heard versus Johnny Depp, the defamation saga that flipped public opinion multiple times as new evidence emerged. And there was Lindsay Lohan's legal circus, lawyers dropping her case left and right, each exit fueling more negative coverage. And let's not forget the Britney Spears conservatorship battle. Not the same context, but it highlighted how crucial a trustworthy legal team is and how public opinion can swing violently with each reveal. Each time, the celebrity in question struggled to regain control once the narrative spun out. The question is, can Blake pull off a redemption arc, or is she heading for a career freeze? While the lawyer fiasco was dominating headlines, new tidbits from the production crew began to surface. Some staffers claimed Blake was the one calling for excessive scene retakes, then using those same retakes as proof she was being overworked. Others recalled her being friendly one minute and abruptly confrontational the next. It's basically the set version of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, if the gossip is to be believed. Interestingly, nobody is coming forward to declare Justin a tyrant. Quite the opposite. A few staffers said he'd go out of his way to ensure everyone was comfortable, from scheduling breaks to reworking the shooting schedule for new parents. This only fueled the growing suspicion that Blake might have orchestrated the meltdown for reasons unknown. Creative control, PR strategy, or something else entirely. Let's circle back to that moment where Blake referred to her powerful Hollywood connections as her dragons, ready to defend her at any cost. It's giving major Game of Thrones vibes, but more importantly, it hints at a calculated approach. According to the leaked texts, she was planning how to influence media coverage by nudging certain outlets. Control post-production edits to ensure she was portrayed favorably. Ensure Justin Baldoni was painted as the bad guy, no matter how events really played out. In a world where celebrity influence can make or break a project, this was a big revelation. Fans began to wonder if maybe the real story was that Blake didn't want any competition for her creative vision. Maybe the legal action was a tactic to strong-arm the studio and her director into ceding more control. If so, that plan seems to have backfired spectacularly.
I think most actors' dream is to be able to do a period piece film, but I got to do an every period piece film because this dates back to 1908 till now. So to explore the different decades, the fashion, the hair and makeup, and just how women were treated in each of those different eras.
Look, I'm not saying Hollywood egos are new. Everyone from Marlon Brando to Christian Bale has had their behind-the-scenes spats. But there's a special kind of meltdown that occurs when private agendas clash with public perception. Blake might have bet on the usual Hollywood dynamic. If a woman says she's being mistreated, the public rallies behind her. And for a hot minute, that's exactly what happened. But in 2025, where literally everything can be documented, screenshotted, or leaked, orchestrating a scandal is risky. The moment contradictory evidence surfaces, you risk the entire internet turning on you. And once the narrative shifts, reversing it is like trying to push an elephant uphill. Let's talk about the big moment, the lawyer's exit. Because it wasn't a quiet, we have amicably decided to part ways scenario. No, the legal rep left a public statement that basically said, we discovered inconsistencies in Ms. Lively's claims. That's a polite way of saying, yeah, we don't buy her story and we're not going to sink with this ship. When you're an A-lister, that's the last thing you want your lawyer to say, ever. Online chatter erupted. If Blake was telling the truth, wouldn't her lawyer fight tooth and nail for her? Another wave of Amber Heard comparisons hit. Is this going to be yet another high-profile meltdown where the star's reputation ends up in tatters? And with each new take, the Team Blake crowd dwindled. Once the lawyer bounced, it was like a set of dominoes falling. Studios rumored to be pulling out of deals or postponing projects with Blake. PR teams quietly redirecting the narrative or dropping hints that they never fully believed Blake's version. Casting directors moving on to other actresses for upcoming roles because who wants the drama? Hollywood is built on networking and reputation. The moment a star is perceived as too risky, offers dry up faster than spilled water in the desert. And that's the territory Blake found herself in. Let's not forget the curious case of Ryan Reynolds, the comedic genius of social media. Usually, he'd be the first one making jokes or dropping subtle references in support of his wife. Instead, there's been crickets. Some interpret his silence as neutrality. Maybe he doesn't want to fan the flames. Others suspect he knows the evidence isn't in her favor, and he's trying to maintain his own brand image. Either way, it's a glaring absence. So the million-dollar question, does It Ends With Us survive this fiasco? The film was supposed to be a tear-jerking cinematic event. Now it's overshadowed by allegations, text leaks, and the meltdown of its leading lady. Industry chatter suggests the film might go into serious damage control mode, rebranding, maybe reshoots, or at worst, shelving the project until the drama dissipates. It's not fair to fans of the novel or to Justin Baldoni, but that's the harsh reality when your lead star is at the center of a swirling controversy. Let's break down Blake's next moves. A heartfelt apology tour. She could say something like, I was under immense stress. Postpartum hormones were at play. I felt cornered and made some poor decisions. It might earn her a shred of sympathy, but it's risky if more receipts are still lurking. Double down, deny everything, claim the text messages are out of context. But unless she has rock-solid evidence, she might just dig herself into a deeper hole. Disappear and reboot. She might go radio silent, let the media storm pass, and attempt a quiet comeback with a smaller indie project a year or two from now. Hollywood's memory can be short, but only if she can avoid more negative headlines.
It's based on a beautiful, really important book, and it's about a young woman named Lily who confronts the generational cycles in her life and breaks them and ends the circle. And I hope people find it inspiring, and yet also, it's a film about a heavy topic. It's about domestic violence.
Amber Heard tried multiple PR strategies after her controversy, but her reputation definitely took a hit. It's not impossible for Blake to bounce back. Hollywood loves a redemption story, but the path won't be easy. Public trust is fragile, and once the narrative sets in that you might be manipulating facts, it's a tough label to shake. Plus, if studios start to believe you're not worth the potential PR disaster, good luck booking new roles. Meanwhile, Justin stands to come out of this relatively clean if no new dirt surfaces on him. He might even get a little bump in public sympathy for having endured the meltdown. If the film eventually premieres and it's decent, he might ride off into the Hollywood sunset looking like the gracious hero who just wanted to make a good movie. All right, babes, we've dissected every angle of this meltdown, from the rumored postpartum stress to the shady text messages to that lawyer exit heard around Hollywood. The question now is, where do you stand? Are you thinking Blake is an actress who fell victim to a brutal industry, or does the evidence say otherwise? Do you believe Justin Baldoni is a misunderstood good guy, or is there a twist we haven't seen yet? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because y'all know I live for the tea. And let's be real, everyone has an opinion on this fiasco. And while you're scrolling down there, do me a favor, smash that like button. Seriously, the drama has me parched. I need the moral support. Hit subscribe and ring that notification bell, because we're far from done with this saga. In Hollywood, plots tend to get even twistier the moment you think you've got it all figured out. Blake Lively, once squeaky clean, now embroiled in allegations that she manipulated the narrative, lied about on-set incidents, and might have used her star power to strong-arm production. Justin Baldoni, painted in the media as overbearing initially, but recently emerging with a calm and collected vibe, letting receipts do the talking. Lawyer drama, Blake's attorney ducked out mid-case, dropping a statement that basically says they found her claims shaky. Studios possibly running for the hills, reevaluating if they want to be associated with Blake's brand. Fans divided into Team Blake Eyes, Team Justin, or Team Who Even Knows. Ryan Reynolds, silence. And in a situation like this, silence can be louder than any statement. Could more leaked evidence flip the script again? Will Blake attempt a public apology to save face? Is It Ends With Us doomed? Will Ryan Reynolds ever weigh in, or is he too busy sipping aviation gin, thinking, not my circus, not my monkeys? Let me know your hottest takes in the comments, babes, because this is the kind of Hollywood drama that could keep us up all night. All right, y'all, that's the tea on the scandal that has even the biggest gossip columnists clutching their pearls.